brand new day I've never seen before. So I speak real nice to my day. I start with prayer to push my way as I follow the path that's lit for me, and I speak to the light I see. Hello, sun. Hello, shining bright today. Your sunshine makes me feel okay. I love a sunny day. As the sun hits my face, I can feel the energy flow. I'm alive, and that alone is a reason to rejoice. So I thank you for the sunshine, even thank you for the rain. I even thank you for the beauty the sun brings after the rain. Hey, hey, sun. Hello, sun. Hello, sun. Shining bright today. Feels so good. Your sunshine makes me feel great. I love a sunny day. When the sun meets my eyes, I can't help but smile, and it makes me feel so good. So grab a friend or who's ever around, and together you'll greet the beautiful shining sun and say hello. Hello, sun. Hello, sunshine today. Feels so good. Your sunshine, it makes me feel okay. I love a sunny day. It's a beautiful day outside. Let's get ready to smile. I love a sunny day. I love when the sun is shining. Oh my. I love a sunny day. I'm feeling it, the moment is nice. I'm feeling it, the moment is right. I love a sunny day. To get up and move with me and get your dance on. I love a sunny day. It's so beautiful, beautiful to me. I love a sunny day. The energy the sun brings makes me feel free. I love a sunny day. I love the sunny day. I love a sunny day. Come on, everybody, enjoy the sun with me.
And everybody should know that's how love goes. It's good for the soul. Oh, I got a long way to go, but it won't stop the pain. No, that's the kind of thing that keeps me coming back again and again.
Till I see your face, I won't be satisfied. No, no. I won't stop. I won't quit until I'm yours and you are mine. So you know
I can't live my life for nobody else but me. Try to tell me what to do. I live in time. That's the way that love goes. That's the way it goes. You said it's good for the soul. Everybody should know that's how love
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. You're tuning in live to the Healthy Soul Talk Show with your girl, your favorite therapist, Dr. Kimberly Thomas. Come on in here. Welcome. If you're tuning in live on Blog Talk Radio, you can dial 323-870-4375. Press 1 to join. Again, that's 323-870-4375. Press 1 to join. And of course, if you're tuning in live on Facebook, and you want to comment live, feel free to do so. Why don't you pump those hearts? like and share for us. Of course, every week we tune in and have stimulating conversation. And so glad you can join us. And of course, if you want to email us any questions, concerns, or topics, you can email hst@ttlomedia.net. Again, that's hst@ttlomedia.net. And of course, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Healthy Soul Talk. Again, welcome. You're tuning in live. I love this weather. Not too hot, not too cool, right? Loving the breeze. How are my favorite producers doing on this lovely evening? You don't, what does that mean? Which one? Yes, it's up. You don't hear it?
Oh, wait, that might help if I turn it on. Okay, you can come on back down a little bit then. Come on back down. Come on back down just a little bit. Bless your minutes. Come on a little bit more, a little bit more.
You know, the people got to hear you.
No,
on the other side.
but if I'm that loud in here, that means I'm good. That's good. Yeah. Praise him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm well. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much. How are you?
Good. How was your fourth? I feel like we got to catch up.
How was my fourth?
That was Sunday.
Thank you, right? Sunday? Yeah, fourth was good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah, it was good. We got some we saw some reflections of some bootleg fireworks. We saw firework reflections. So we was good, which was perfect because I'm tired of listening to them anyway. So by the time, we saw what we saw and it was good. Yeah, we was good.
Okay. Did you grill? Did you get out there and put your chef
No,
hat on?
I didn't do any grilling this time. I didn't do any grilling this time. My grilling will probably kick back up around. I hope to grill something around Labor Day.
Okay.
Because Labor Day is officially like the last official grilling day.
Is it?
Yeah. Because think about it, because the weather shifts. But I'm not a grill in the cold person.
Okay.
That ain't me.
You're not doing it?
No, even though the way I cook on the grill, I could do it because I don't have to stand out there.
Okay.
I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Talk about it. Yes.
So those of us who stand out there.
Right. Y'all don't just, if y'all got to stand over the grill the whole time you out there, then that's a different type of conversation. Yeah. Different type of conversation.
I stand out there all day.
Oh God.
Oh, one day I grow up to be just like you because I do not like burn food.
Oh no.
How are you, Miss LaTanya?
I'm here. I'm fine. Tired.
You tired?
Yeah, it's going. It's yeah.
Oh.
It's you know what it is. It's been a. I can't answer for you, but I'm gonna answer. But it's been like nonstop. Like we haven't we had the concert, then we had funeral, then we had just nonstop. We had this celebration and yeah, it's just a lot. So it's like this weekend is this summer sizzle.
Yes.
Sizzling summer, saved, sanctified, and socially adept, spectacular.
Social distance.
Social distance. Well, yeah. Well, unless you got shot up. But yeah, it's that.
No, we
so
just playing. We just added them asses.
yeah, we just like adding S's. Yeah. So anyway, that's this weekend. Once that's over, hopefully.
Sexy, sizzling, spectacular.
Right. My hope is that everybody stays healthy.
Yes.
At least for about a month or two.
Uh-huh.
After that, y'all can get back on schedule. Whatever that schedule is.
Okay.
But yeah, we good. How was your fourth?
It was good. Didn't do a lot. Tried to get some sleep.
What's that?
Right. The little one.
What is that called? Oh, you got a little one. So you got a valid excuse.
Oh my. No.
No?
Nap is just extinct right now. I don't know.
You say nap.
That's a grown adult.
I just y'all pray for me.
Okay.
Pray for me.
Get right on it.
Excuse me, Lord.
Pardon me, Jesus.
The older ones are just like, we never would have gotten away with that. You never would have allowed that to happen. And I was like, if you only knew. I'm just too old. It doesn't even matter anymore. So they are like a little bit upset. at my parenting style right about now.
Okay.
You know.
You know, they say the third one just gets like, you know, I seen it on Roseanne. It was kind of funny. The oldest one, Becky, had all the pictures. The second one, she had some pictures. They didn't have any pictures of DJ. So it was just like it's just going down instantly. Like I know for a fact for Jalen and Taylor, Jalen has all the pictures. Broke mother. I don't even know how I even afforded all those pictures from the picture people. And the picture people are known for like, you know, taking all your money.
Right.
And, you know, every dollar for dollar. Jalen has been an astronaut. He has been an angel. He has been
Okay.
he has been some of everything. And Taylor has almost 0 to very little pictures. Yeah.
She has a lot of selfies.
Who? Your daughter?
Yeah, you're absolute, like, I can go all the way
We can't
back.
put those in albums.
You can print them out at, I think Walgreens has put it on a flash drive and print it out.
Oh no, but there's this thing called Monster Books, and you can just
Monster
download everything off your phone and everything, and put them into a photo album, which I think is quite helpful.
Wait, a digital photo album or?
Digital, just have it come to you, and the pictures are already in a photo album for you.
I gotta look that up. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I feel bad for the little lady.
What?
Just a bunch of selfies. And
okay.
Did she at least get you in some of them? Like, hey, this mom with me
no,
at the beach.
she found out how to upload videos to YouTube.
Oh wow. Okay then.
And
This the little one.
And was like, would you be upset if I uploaded videos to YouTube? And you know, me being me was like, well, you should probably ask me first. And she was like, okay, hold on. So I'm thinking she's gonna show me some pre-recorded videos on my phone. And she went to my YouTube page.
Oh.
And uploaded some starting in April.
I knew I liked her a lot.
And I was like, remain calm, because I see her out of my peripheral here, right? And she outside doing them little JoJo Swift karaoke videos and with her little friends. They had a whole routine going on. Had like 105 views. I said, the devil is a lie, delete. And I'm just sitting there deleting. And I took the phone for a week. No electronic devices whatsoever. And so for a whole week, she would just, when we got home from summer camp, she would sit on the couch and look straight ahead. Cause you
At you.
I don't like the harsh treatment my friend is receiving. I feel some kind of way.
Little too grown. Little bit need a throat chop.
I don't know. I was just like, well, first off, I couldn't question where she got it from, because clearly she see me.
Right, she's doing. So she's only mimicking what she saw.
I was like, wait 1 minute.
That's
so she
interesting.
was grounded for about a week. She was grounded for a full week. She didn't ask. She just came in, washed her hands, you know.
I don't appreciate my friend being
just
put
sat
in
on the couch,
some
straight ahead.
Some kind of kiddie prison. That's what it sounds like. I don't know if I appreciate that.
Y'all just pray, because
So exploring her creativity. You might have just
you went too far.
She might have been a producer in the making, and now
she's been writing songs. So
and now she's like, well, if I do this, I get in trouble. So let me just go play with some dolls or something, and and just be that girl.
No.
You ever heard the thing, like, what was it? Years ago, I was watching some preacher. I forget who it was. Might have been Teddy, I was going to say Teddy Long. Either Eddie Long or T.D. Jakes. And they were talking about, like, crushing, like, calling people dream killers.
Okay.
And
So that's where you got it from.
yes. And so they showed, they real good with doing, like, live illustrations. So they had a little kid on the stage playing with blocks. And he was like this intricate, like building up the stuff. And then here comes the adult who's like, clean up the floor, and just knocks his stuff over. And they say, it said at some point, that kid who took the time to figure out what angles to put those things on to make them stand, you just crushed that kid's dream by the way you knocked it down versus you taking it down. Say, hey, let me help you take this down versus knocking it down. So, yeah, sometimes you have to,
I agree with that.
Dream killers.
I agree with that.
But you know what? I totally get it. I get it. I get
Don't
it.
be making no more videos.
No.
Howdy ever.
Yeah, howdy ever.
I knew that was coming.
Because,
I knew that was coming.
No, because see, here's the thing. Everybody who saw that illustration or know about the dream killer, and we are those parents where we are not throat chopping our kids or choking them, like when they say something off the wall, and then we get looked at, or those kids get looked at because they're kind of off kilter, like they don't have any medium, like I love Taylor because she's able to say what she wants, how she wants, what she wants, and everything, and it may come off a little brash at the same time. That that seems like you ain't meet the backhand before, huh? You ain't never get that whoop, and get that hurt feeling with the tear in your eye and everything. So because she was once for 30 seconds, she was once that girl who cried all the time, and then she got out of that stage, and now she and she blossomed into this other person and everything. But at the same time, I do have a person who has very little empathy for others. I've seen it. I've seen her hurt other kids, and it could just be just something simple as writing. Taylor says it's not good, and it's not good. I've seen a kid ball up his own work because Taylor said it wasn't good and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, I said there's a way to say things. There's a way, So our dream killers have become, I will say, Optimus Prime, not evil doers, but like semi-evil doers, like Chucky dolls.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Wow. And I appreciate I like kids' creativity these days, and I'm glad they're being taught, ways to channel that. I just think for me, it's just staying on top of, making sure they make good decisions as they get exposed. I know there's a lot of people out there pushing their young kids, to be out there doing, various things, and it's like you still want to make sure your child is well-rounded, and also you're not living yourself through them, right? And that's what, I'm very careful with, to make sure I don't, put any kid in a position where I'm living my life through them, right? Like making them do something just because it's available now. I find so much available that wasn't available back in our day. And it's I see that sometimes with parents where they just, that's your dream, right? And you're not necessarily letting them be the creative beings, that they are. Yeah. So I'm trying to be more conscious of that, right? And making sure I don't step or crush on, any visions.
Not trying to be a dream killer.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay then. Welcome. Hey, Valia, how are you? Thank you all for tuning in live. Listen, we're going to keep going here. As you know, at the top of the show, we have what's called a spiritual connect point. And so, this week I really dived into this particular question because, I'm in the, transition stage, I like to think, with a wellness plan. And so I thought about this question: what does it mean to be made in God's image? And when I thought about that, in a lot of women groups and ministries and just different parts, right, of support outlets that I've been affiliated with, whether that was a member or facilitating, that question or question similar always came up to say, did God mean to make me this way, right? And if I am a reflection of Him, why am I treated a certain way based on these looks, right? Or why aren't people accepting, right, of all types of people, right? Race, size, just these various elements that we see on the outside that we can't hide. And I heard this term, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and we're all made in God's image, and yet there still seems to be hatred and even self-esteem issues, right? To say that, did God make a mistake, right? Or this is this the way I'm supposed to look, right? Even working this hard, right? At trying to build, as you build your self-confidence, and so this question, or I never really hear a lot of, I don't want to say sermons, and it could be, I know they're out there, but just teachings about, when you hear that made in God's image, right? You're fearfully, wonderfully made, right? He doesn't make mistakes, right? All this good stuff. How does one accept, right, that this is how God made you, because you are, right, a reflection of him, but yet you get criticized, outcast, right? Your quote unquote deficiencies or defects, right, are you expect sympathy. And what I mean by that, because society says, hey, if you have such deficiencies or deformities, right, then there's a certain attention or a lack of, right, thing that should be done in your presence. And so I don't know. For me, I like to connect the dots more, right?
Okay.
For the understanding of, how are we made in God's image, to where one should be comfortable with however way, right, God has created you to be and to look.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got my scripture because,
Yeah. What was it?
I went to Genesis.
Oh, okay.
The first chapter, the 27th verse. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And, I'm not going to get into these gender terms here. That's a whole nother show. But just thinking about, as a woman, right?
Okay.
Why as women, I know we talked about women, a couple months ago, but why do we question our womanhood? Right? So often. And why can't we stand on that promise? Or why can't we stand on, right, that God created us in his image, and that is your quote unquote imperfections, right? As well as what you're not able to do even when it comes, we talked about, bearing children, or, being a certain size, models, right? You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, how do you get that to kick in, right? That no matter who you are or how you look, you are a true image, and that image supersedes anything, right? That society, this box that they put you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was.
Okay.
Yeah, what you got? 'Cause I can go all day with that.
No,
I'm processing.
When I saw this last night, I saw the text last night, but I didn't look it up till this morning. But when I saw it, I thought, okay, I know this because the scripture is used quite often, and like a lot of scriptures, sometimes it is unfortunately taken out of context.
Okay.
So you use Genesis 1:27, right? Yeah. So Genesis 1:27, you read the King James Version, I believe.
Yeah.
Is what that was.
Yeah.
So I want to go back, because being made in God's image is we have to think of first. It's and the Latin word image Deo or Dio,
Okay.
image Dio or imagio Dio is a it means more of a reflection than it does just like. Right. So we have to be clear there first. Right. So if I go to the message Bible, Genesis 1:27-28, this is what it reads. It says, God spoke, let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature. so that they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth. God created human beings. He created them God-like, not gods, but God-like, reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge. Be responsible for the fish in the sea and the birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of the earth. All right. The word that keeps sticking out there is reflecting.
Yes.
Reflecting our nature, reflecting God's nature. Those are the words that keep sticking out in that version. Because God says, I'm going to create them like us or like me, because I'm responsible for everything. So I'm going to make you less than God, less than me, but you're going to be responsible for every other living creature. So when we talk about being made in his image, it means that we should have his nature, which means we should have his moral thought patterns.
Yes.
Right? We should have a semblance, something that resembles God's moral compass.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And something that represents who we are. We are not our parents, but we are an image of our parents. And a lot of times our behaviors out in public reflect what we have, what we've seen. So just like you were joking about our little friend and uploading the videos, she's only doing as what she's seen, and she thinks, well, okay, this is cool. Mommy does it.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah.
If there is a lot of ill behavior going on in your house, a lot of negativism, if there's a lot of swearing and disrespect
absolutely
going on in your house, then your children become a reflection of your bad choice, bad behavior. So now what God is saying is that even though we were sinful, it did not remove God's image. It disfigured it.
Yeah.
So I want to be clear. It did not remove his image. It just disfigured it. Right? So when it comes to the image of God, we've sinned. So because we're living in sin, we're not as fully like God as we were before. Adam and Eve were the closest to the actual image of God up until the fall in the garden. Right? So right at the fall of the garden, they started to lose, which is why they got put out, because God said, okay, they already got the tree of knowledge.
Right.
If I let them get the tree of life, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because now they would become gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would become gods. So though man is still in the image of God in every aspect of his life, that image has been distorted because of sin. So if you wanted to say to anybody that might be listening, how are you in the image of God? Well, he made you. In his perfect will, he made you. Now, the world, have distorted the image of God. Now, there are going to be some that's going to say that the Bible is outdated and that making them male and female and all that's not the case.
Right.
I'm not going to get into that argument. Like you said, that's a different show. I am one who just believes the Bible as is. So, hit me, it is what it is. And I'm not going to hate on nobody. That's your choice. You choose to do that. But there is an image, right? And then part of the making in the image was there were directions given, right?
Right.
It says, prosper, reproduce, fill the earth. Only those who are made in the image can do that. There is no way you can do that if you're not in the image. So if God made me male and you female, then that means we are to reproduce. God didn't say you can't prosper and reproduce if you've confused the reproductive system. And I'm gonna leave it just like that.
Well, and I think to that, it's still where you still need both. You need both systems.
Yes,
Right.
you can't have
no
one
matter
without
which,
the other.
You know, you need both systems,
Yeah.
right, to make it happen. And you know, when you were explaining that, you know, I thought about how so many people feel like they can't prosper or they don't deserve, right, the fruits of life because people have told them, right, that you know, that couldn't be what God made. You understand? Like you've been torn down so much to some people just don't believe that God intended for them to have this meaningful life, that God intended for them to be loved, right, and loved on because somebody has shamed them.
I would
right?
go back to
like it was a mistake. You know, you especially with kids, you tear them down so much
that they
right?
think that they don't belong.
Criticizing,
Right.
you know.
But God made, you know, I look at it this way. God made Hitler.
Very true.
Think about that. God
true,
created
very
Hitler.
true.
Now, he didn't create Hitler's thoughts. He didn't
Yes.
he didn't create Hitler's decisions.
Yes.
But he also made Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Right? He
Yeah.
also he also made Pontius Pilate.
Yeah.
He made Judas.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He made them in his image. The problem is we allow the world to distort the image. So when we add greed, when we add sin, when we add lying and adultery and fornication and all of those things and murder and all of those things, we're distorting the image of God because that was never the intent of the original image. Adam and Eve were the original image of God. Adam was the image of God, and Eve was the image of her husband because she comes from the rib.
Yes.
They were the closest thing you had to perfection. And then they distorted it, and then we've been distorted ever since. And even though after the flood, we were left with Noah and his family, there was still a sinful nature there.
Yeah.
Sin was never really washed away from the earth, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was never washed away, you know, so we're always going to have that. It's that, and so even with our bodies, when you say, well, did God intend for me to be this way? Did God intend for me to be tall and skinny? Did God intend for me to be short and chunky? Did God intend me to have, you know, one leg longer than the other one? She said, thickalicious, help us, Jesus. Did God intend for me to be this, that, or whatever? You know, and God created you in the image. Watch this. God created you in the image that he knew he would get the glory out of. The problem is we misused the image that we received by what we put in our bodies. And
I like this.
I know people.
I like this.
I know people say, you know, well, he big boned or she big boned or there is a tendency. No, ain't nobody born with a fat gene. Let's stop. No.
Well, there may be some genetic, you know, illnesses,
but
that
you
thyroid
choose
issues.
But that's different. But that's a defect in the
Medical,
body. That's a medical
yeah,
defect.
yeah.
But you choose to eat one Krispy Kreme or a dozen Krispy Kremes. I used to make the choice, right? I make the choice if I'm going to eat 3 tacos or 3 tacos, a bowl of guacamole, a burrito, and some wrapped jalapeno poppers, and some
3 drinks.
4 drinks, and I'm making the choice. Because God built the body to handle maybe the 1 or 2 tacos.
Right.
And maybe
that
the
is
one
true.
good beverage.
That is true.
He didn't build it to say, oh, that's what we're doing, huh? Okay, because you go ahead and watch and watch what happens.
Watch your clothes.
Right.
Get tighter.
Right. All of a sudden, all your clothes looking real young. You know,
my
so you gotta be careful.
Take ownership.
Yeah,
right?
you have to take ownership of. God didn't make you. God didn't make, you know. These were choices.
And I think, and that's where, you know, we're talking about self this month is really
Yes.
understanding your role in maintaining what God gave you, right?
Yes.
When you said, you know, when you read from the Message Bible, where He gave us responsibility, right, over the earth, and that includes self, right? That includes taking care of self, because you can't take care of somebody else, or, you know, like my garden. Like I can't take care of my garden if I'm not taking care of my body. That's you know, counterproductive.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
The garden would die, right? Because I'm out here doing hamburgers in the college over there, you know, dying, right? Because that's not what I'm feeding my body, and I'm least likely to take care of both of those. So I feel like, that's where it's like you connect, spiritually back to what is God calling me to do, right? To take care of me so that he can get the glory. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm tired, I'm worn out, right? I'm not taking care of me, right? My strength is low, my energy is low, my thoughts are cloudy, right? I just, and for me, that's where, as I got older and understood what self-care was, but also to understand that you can't compare yourself to anybody else.
Not at all.
When you're taking care of self, right? Because you're shifting from the purpose, right? So I had to learn, okay, you're not going to look like that woman over there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the vision for you, and that's not how God intended you. He didn't design us to look the same. He didn't design us to all wear the same size.
We
right?
could do the same work.
Yes.
We can go to the gym and put in the same work, change our eating habits and do the exact same thing, and we're not going to look like each other. We can all go in and say we want to lose 20 pounds, and we go in and we do the work to lose 20 pounds. Here's the problem. My 20 that I lose going to look different than your 20.
Yes.
And then somebody going to be mad that your 20 don't look like my 20 or vice versa. Because that's the way we were, our bodies, even we were in his image, but everybody has their own design. And you have to remember like this too, we were created for his purpose. And so he's going to get the glory out of whatever.
Right.
We have to choose to make ourselves available.
And stay available.
Like the old worship song says, if you can use anybody, Lord, you can use me. But are you ready to be used? The problem is we want God to use us, but we're ill-equipped to be used.
And self-esteem in that area, right? Like I think it takes a lot to do God's work. But if you're concerned with how people will literally see you, right? That distracts you. Does that make sense? It's like, you're so concerned with your not even your physical appearance, but more of what do I even look right? It's fear.
The self-esteem issue comes from fear. And then it's also something that God did not create. Right? Nobody was born with "I hope they like me" syndrome.
Very true.
Nobody was born with that. Because as a kid, watch this. Think about children.
Carefree.
Think about children when you see them play.
Yeah.
It's very innocent. When that little baby sees another little baby and he reaches out to grab and play, white, black, Chinese, it does not matter. They play with each other. It's not until they get corrupted by us. So when they now go from the little sweet little toddler that they were at 2 and 3 and 4, now we send them off to grammar school, to kindergarten, but while they've been at home, they've been indoctrinated. Well, if you don't see if them little kids ain't got no Jordans on, you can't play with them. If they ain't wearing what you wearing, you can't play with them. So now that's the thought process. Or even on a worse side, I almost said worser. On a worse side, right, worse. On a worse side, it is they don't look like you, so you cannot play with them. Their skin is different from you. So something is so they're deficient because they're darker.
Right.
Or even if you do reverse racism.
Yeah.
Don't play with them little white kids.
Yeah. Because,
little white, I'm going to say it, with just silly stuff black folks say. Don't play with the little white kids, you're going to end up with lice. What? But that's the stupid.
Wow.
That's the silliness.
Yeah.
That is the silliness. Or the white kids. Don't play with the black kid. It's going to rub off on you. But little white kids be like, I wish my skin was like yours. They don't mind it. It's us that God makes us perfect in his image. Now again, you may say, well, what about children who are born disfigured? What about children who are born with mental deficiencies, the developmental situations? But a lot of that comes from because we've screwed up our own genetics, right? With what we're eating. The atmosphere is not conducive.
Like in other countries. You
go to other countries, you ain't no, autism is like, what? What's that? You know, because they're you know, it's like we talked about when you talked about the issue with women. You know, how many women go, you know, pregnant women are not given the proper treatment, especially black women.
Right.
When it's time for them to have a baby versus other women. Right? So no wonder your kid gonna have issues. Because, you know, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his or her throat for 30 seconds too long.
Yeah.
You know, or you didn't receive
due to discrimination and prejudice
and
attitudes,
just
right?
flat out negligence.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So at the end of the day, when it comes to what the image of God looks like or what it's about, we have to remember. I think where's it at? I think I clicked on it. Colossians says 3:10. As we grow in faith, we are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. So as we grow back in our faith, even though physically, see, we're too concerned about physically. The image of God has nothing to do with our physical look. Has nothing to do with our physical look. So it's like if I say I'm right, it's all about spirit.
Yeah.
Does my spirit line up with the image of God?
Because then the other stuff won't matter.
It won't.
Right.
Because I'm no longer concerned that my shirt too tight.
Well, not too tight, but like, you know,
young.
We see your rolls or you know, like
right.
They too tight.
Right. Whatever you need to say to make it, you know. I'm just trying to
listen now. And so my takeaway was to make sure, you know, anybody out there who's questioning how efficient they are when they're doing the work of the Lord, right? Push all of that negative self-talk about image. And I mean, this your people will receive whatever God has given you to deliver, right? And people are going to talk regardless. I had a 12-year-old and tell me she knows that if Beyonce got cheated on, there's no hope for her to have a healthy marriage. That was from a 12-year-old.
Wow.
Right.
Because there's this image of Beyonce by some believing her to be the perfect example of whatever.
Beauty and fame and look at her now. What does that mean for me? And because I'm nowhere near that.
Because I don't look like her. So I know I'm going to get.
Right. And so that's when it started. She's 12.
Yeah.
Right. And so imagine us as adults who didn't, you know, have that space back then. Right.
Right.
To talk about this, it's like you got to push through that stuff, push through, right? That what you see in the world, right? That means your life is doomed, right? Or that you shouldn't continue doing the work of, right? What God has called you to do. And so, and that's not just in the church, right? That's your day to day, right? When you're talking to people, right?
Yes.
Whether you're, you know, teaching, whether you are, you know, in whatever, you know, sector, right? He places you, you're still in his image, you know, and that's where you have to be comfortable with to say, okay, I'm not worried about what you say, right? If I know that I'm anointed, if I know that I'm investing, right, in what God gave me to do in my life, then I got to be okay with that, right? And that includes taking care of my total being, right? And I feel like if that's where I am, as long as I know that I'm taking care of my total being, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the best you can do. Right. Because you're always striving to be the best you. Right. You have to know, you have to keep it real with yourself to know that every day you wake up, you're intentional about being the best you, being honest. Right. Living
keyword,
with
intentionality.
Keyword. Integrity. Right. Living with dignity. Right. And with your head up and, you know, investing in, you know, your spiritual growth and development, your mental, your physical, right? As long as you know that you are doing the best you can to be the best you, you can fight those negative thoughts. Good stuff. Right? Good evening, Tiffany. How are you? Thank you for joining in. We got to connect real soon, lady. All right, listen. So let's keep going here. I like that discussion. You know, you always, you know, drop something, right, for me to go home and... further think about it. You bring the truth, like, this is what it really means.
It's me just trying to make sure people get the context,
Right.
and not overthink it.
I think that I hope that we get more platforms for people to talk about scripture in a more fluid dialogue, right? In a way like they don't have to be ashamed or I know some workplaces you can't do that, but I really feel like, and I know it's happening in friendships and circles and things like that, but I really hope, right, that we can ask questions like this and get clarity, right, from a practical, right, stand from someone who studies, right, and listening to those wonderful Bible classes and sermons, right, that we tune into. All right, y'all, let's keep going here. So I missed Did You Know last week.
Yes, you did.
Oh, wait now.
I see you missed it because I deleted it. We have
Well,
like all this
first
great
off-
graphics, and I thought you guys did it.
No, my electronic devices
What's broke?
are still broke. Just
Oh,
got a
Jesus.
text, said it was a delay. It won't be fixed until the 30th. And so I'm still, yeah, that's what I said. You kidding me, right? So I still, I deleted it off my paper too. Last
Okay.
So it's on here now, but here's the Did You Know? Did you know that your tongue is the fastest healing part of your body? So I don't know if you've ever, bit your tongue or burned your tongue, ate some hot foods, but it's saying that because all the nutrients and this is where all the vitamins and things first come into your mouth. It says that actually your mouth, right, your jaw, your gums actually heal faster, right, than any other part of your body.
It's the one part of the body, second to I believe probably the heart, that never stops moving, even when you're not talking.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. That is true. That is true. So I thought about it, it's like,
Tanya
wow.
over there trying to take right now.
Right.
Power in the tongue, right?
I'm over there having a cold moment,
Like, is my tongue moving?
acting like cold.
So yes, your tongue is the fastest healing part of your body, and so I thought about that and how much we use our tongue, right? And what would you do if you didn't have one?
Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
You can use it to lift somebody up, use it to tear somebody down.
to shreds.
Life and death. There it is.
Yes. Hey, did you back in the day you get these little white as somebody said white lie bumps?
Live bumps.
I've never heard that.
I never had them.
Oh my
but
God. What
I
does
do
that
remember
mean?
people saying them.
Like if you
Got
got
the
a
line?
yeah, like what? It's a little white bump.
I should have been tatted up then.
Said, what did you lie about? I'm like, what? I haven't had them since a kid, but I was like, what? What are you talking about? Lying. But anyway, y'all, I thought that was interesting. All right, let's jump in here to the topic for today. Talking about, so we started a series all about self-series. And we spoke last week about the I statement. You all practice some I statements?
Who, me?
Okay, then.
Who's
You
that?
practice eyes?
Yeah.
What was this?
Yeah.
I statements. You practice? You did it? Like, no, you said I in the form of how you feel. Mm-hmm. You practice that?
We were already doing that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
With everybody?
No.
No.
We were just doing it between us.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can say I believe or I feel. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. So this week I thought we'd dive into self-control and willpower.
That's that AM radio that's coming through.
Self-control and willpower. And I brought up these two terms because I know that some people interchange, right, these terms. But, there's a slight difference in the two. And I just want to kind of flow with these two terms because it's so relevant today, just for emotional and mental wellness, right? Even physical wellness, financial, spiritual wellness, self-control and willpower is essential, right? Are two essential elements. And so I want to kick off by defining the terms, right? And then obviously conclude with things you can do to make sure you continuously implement these things. And so, when I thought about the term, willpower, right? What is willpower? And if you separate these two terms, you have will, right? And then you have the word power. And so we know that the word will, right, is the ability to make a conscious choice, right? We all have free will and make our own choices, even if as it relates to whether or not we obey commands or authority, right? And so when you think about will is the ability to make a conscious choice, right? Willpower is more of the motivation to exercise this will, right? To exercise this choice. And so it says here, a person with strong willpower will assert decisions even in the face of strong opposition. And a person with little willpower will give in easily. Right? And so when you're thinking about, willpower, it's really like a determination, right? It's a strong determination, right? It's a choice to make something or prevent yourself from, doing something. It's a drive, right? It's a drive. And so, as we talk about these things, I want y'all to really think about, like, how do you know when you have a strong determination to do something? Right? Do you have you often hear that question, do you have the willpower, right, to get this done? Do you have the willpower, right, to stop, using? Do you have the willpower, right, to stay, in certain relationships? Do you have the determination? Do you have the drive, right, to stick with things that you start?
Do you have the testicular fortitude?
Big word.
Huh?
How you spell that?
T. Testicular. Or tude.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and sometimes you have to question if you have, as they say, a will to live. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you have a drive to live? Do you have the determination, right, to be the best you? And so that's kind of like the distinct, right, difference here between that, what we're going to get into in a minute, self-control. But willpower is, right, it's this internal boosting, right? It's this internal push, that nudge, right, that pushes you to keep going, the perseverance, right, the persistency, right, to continue whatever it is that you need to do. Right. And so that's the vein of willpower. Right. So now when you think about self-control, right? Self-control is your ability to manage one's impulses, emotions, and behaviors to achieve long-term goals. Right. And we often say that, we study the brain. Right. And there is a certain part of the brain that actually houses, right, our decision making, problem solving, planning, right, all of that, which is in the cortex, prefrontal cortex of the brain. And so we know it's a little off here. When there's damage to that, we typically see traumatic brain injury where people aren't able to, right, maintain self-control. So that's a real thing, where if the brain is damaged and it's irreversible damage that's done, they actually don't have this ability to implement self-control.
Okay.
They cannot control, right, the temptations, right? Not giving in to the temptations. When you think about that, so I'm not sure if you've ever known someone who's had traumatic brain injury, but that concept of self-control doesn't exist because they can't regulate their emotions. That part of the brain is literally inactive.
I had to be reminded that working with middle school kids, that that frontal cortex is not
fully developed.
fully developed.
Yeah.
So even though as much as we feel like they should know the consequences of their actions, that they should know that what they just did is like not acceptable.
Yeah.
A lot of time I had to be reminded that that's not the case. Now, again, it's easy to say what your mom or dad didn't allow you to do, but
Right.
you go back to
Right.
10 and it's like you probably was doing some really stupid stuff too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just not on the,
Yeah.
now there's different levels of stupid stuff. Our levels of stupid stuff was what we thought was nothing compared to the levels of stupid stuff it is now, which they think is nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm very careful, right, with the young people that I work with, not to put that pressure on them. Like I hear a lot these days, you should know better, right? Or stop acting lazy, right? And willpower is that inner drive, that determination, that go get 'em, right? Push within you, and then self-control is managing along this journey of this willpower, right?
Right.
Your emotions that's gonna come with doing life, and so it's something that has to be nurtured, right? Practiced and developed and corrected, right? The laws of the land will help you enhance your self-control, but many people are incarcerated even because they weren't taught self-control practices, right? Or they were taught incorrectly, right? Learned behavior, right? And so even with willpower, you want to position yourself, think about what helps you stay encouraged, right? This drive of life, but also what do you need to control about your temper? What do you need to control about your emotions as you navigate life, right? Achieving long-term goals. And so I thought about, the first thing to these concepts. So that core difference for me is willpower is that internal determination, that drive, right? That motivation to exercise whatever your will is, right? And I mean that from the standpoint, your goals that you set. Self-control is your ability to manage your impulses, emotions, and behaviors to achieve those long-term goals. All right. And so the first thing is here, learn how to manage stress. Now, notice I didn't say learn how to get rid of stress, because there's no such thing, right, as a quote unquote stress-free life. But you do have to know how to manage your body during stress, right? Or you're in the midst of, we call them stressors. Right. And this could be anything, right? Because planning a party can be stressful, right? Because you got finances, this, that, and the other. A lot of moving parts to planning events, right? To, dealing with a very toxic relationship, or, being at work and you don't particularly care for your coworkers, or, you have these not so good relationships there. You still, right, need to learn how to manage stress. And this is where you have to pay attention to your body. One thing I know just from being in the mental health field, many of us don't pay attention to the warning signs that our body gives us. When we're in distress, right? Because distress is at that moment, you basically, you freaking out, right? You're breaking down, right? You're shaking, your hands are sweaty, your thoughts are racing, right? Your heart's pumping really fast, right? You're getting hot because your blood pressure is rising, right? And so you have to understand that your body actually tells you when it's stressed out. But my question is, how often do you listen to when your body sends those physical signs that you're stressed out, right? Because this is where if you don't manage your stress, right, therein lies, number one, you lose your willpower, right? Your ability to make good decisions slowly diminishes, right? It really decreases, right? And so now you're doing things on impulse.
Facts,
right? You're
facts.
doing things on impulse because you're tired, you're exhausted, you're trying to get it out the way, or heck, you just don't even care, right? And so now anything goes, anything goes, and so you have to learn how to manage manage stress, right? What are some of your go-to stress management coping strategies?
Me?
Yeah.
What do I do? Let me think. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
You know what?
Do you listen to your body okay, so for me, my eye twitches when I'm stressed out. And what I mean by that can mean I've gone too long without taking a day off. That can mean, I've stayed up too long because, I teach. And so, certain terms are heavier than others. Right. And so my eyes have been my cues. Right. That, okay, if you don't do something soon, my body will shut down. It was so bad back in the day where my body would just shut down and I have to be in the bed. Literally. And I told the family, like, I'm sorry. I saw it coming. I felt it. And the body was like, I got you. You ignored me long enough. So therefore, we twitched your eye. You didn't pay attention. So now we going to lay you down. Right. And I literally had to sleep that day. Right. To get restored and replenished. So that's what it for me is like. The cue, my eye starts to twitch, and I could be driving. So it's not like, I'm even quote unquote in the midst of being stressed out. It's along the way. Like you need to tune in.
Yeah, I know for me, I used to be big on, I never been big on I used to be big on meditation when I was younger. Okay. But it was because it was something cool to do, not because I needed to do it. Right? And then I had all of the, I was real big on Asian stuff. Okay. Of, martial arts and all that kind of stuff. Oh, so I had the what they call cloisonne, like stress balls that you spin around in your hand. Remember the ones that, what's my man, Larry Fishburne had in Boys to Men? Not Boys to Men, Boys in the Hood. Yes. Yeah. So I had some of those. I had a bunch of those. And I used to use those because they're really good. If you read the history of them, they're really good for stress. And I got them for my headaches. And I just thought about it. I probably should find them because they probably would help because they would stop the headache. Because there was something about the sensors, the sensories in the hand that connects to everything. So I would use those. Those would be my stress relief, and then other than that, like now I'm to a point where I really don't stress. Okay. Yeah, I really don't stress, even though like not knowingly do it. I knew when I was stressing before. Now I'm to a point where I don't. But but as far as body shutting down, man, I ain't gonna shut down in a minute if I don't give me some sleep. So.
And you're right. It's almost like when you know better, you do better, right? So another part of that element of learning how to manage stress is recognize impulsive thoughts, right? So you hear that a lot from people who are stressed out. It's like I just, even when I'm trying to rest, right, thoughts are just racing, right, through my mind to just do certain things, and so this is where you have to resist, right, these impulsive thoughts. Does that make sense? Because it can turn into obsessions, right? And so you want to make sure that you're in tune, not just with your physical body, but also your cognitive, right? Your cognitive function as well, because that plays a big part in your behavior, right? And you might find yourself, and this is a cue too, right? Thinking about, am I stressed out? Are you doing certain things over and over again that had you been in a different space, you wouldn't be doing those things. Right? Remember, we're talking about self-control, right? Self-control can lead to the decrease of willpower, which is for me that determination to be the best you. Right. And so really, I like for people to just sit with self and say, what is on my mind? Right. When you have when you begin to recognize that you have sleepless nights, right. See, we don't really pay attention until we go months or years. Right. And you're like, well, how long have you been not sleeping well? Well, it's been about X amount of years. Like, no, 2 weeks max. Right. Before you say, okay, hold on. hold on. What are these recurring thoughts that keep coming to my mind? Right? What am I doing over and over again, expecting different results? Right? What do I feel like I keep giving in to? What am I not? Right? Again, thinking about where you're losing motivation and determination. Because that leads to feeling a failure. Right? Like I'm missing out on life. You know, I'm not doing things that I know I want to do, and I know I have the capability to do it, right? But something's just, I feel heavy, right? I feel like, you know, I'm stuck, I'm stifled, right? And you have to think about these things, right? Learning to manage your stress, both cognitive stress, mental, emotional stress, right? And physical stress, right? Even when working out, right? You know, of course, we're always pushing exercises, right? Not just because, you know, it helps with weight, but also it helps you sleep better, right? And it helps you have a discipline with your diet. Now, I will say, you know, since I've started this journey, you know, my fitness coach has been like, okay, you know, you're going to have to rearrange your entire thought process, right, of how you see food. And I was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah, right.
Nah.
Right.
No. Right? You spent the last 30 plus years, right? Having a relationship with food this way. Now you have to unlearn some behavior, increase your self-control, right, which is my impulses, right, my emotions that lead to my behaviors. So you have a different relationship with food.
Facts.
Right? And the exercise is just saying that you don't want to sabotage. Right?
Right.
You over here walking and, you know, doing, well, even if that's doing yoga or Pilates or, you know, whatever it is, you know, aerobics, turn around and eat some ham hocks. No, that's not going to make you, because that's guilt, right? And, you know, I can say, you know, I learned that in the beginning stages of this is you feel some type of way, right? When you're supposed to be working on your whole self, and you don't have, in this sense, the willpower, right, to exercise that will of being fit, right, being healthy. You understand what I'm saying? That self-control had to be, you know, you didn't had enough ham hocks, right? You didn't had enough. You understand what I'm saying? You need to control yourself.
Can you really have enough oxtails, though?
But oxtails, I don't think that's as fattening as, you know.
It's still bad for you.
The
It's still bad for you.
smoked
ham hock. But nobody just eats a plain ham hock. I mean, it's in some greens, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
The
it
meat.
is, but, you know, you should use
The
turkey.
hock of the ham.
Should use turkey tails or, you know, smoked turkey.
It's the hock of the ham.
Right? And you feel different. So that's the thing is when you stick with, you know, ways that help you manage your stress, and everybody's different. That's why I asked you that question, because for me, I know I have to sleep, right? Like get adequate sleep. And if I know I'm not getting as much as I need to because of, you know, those periods in my life where, you know, I'm doing a lot of things, I have to make sure I reround with myself to get it. Does that make sense? So you have to know what your body needs and not necessarily, well, my desire is to get 8 hours of sleep, you know, a night.
Right.
For me, sometimes that's just not realistic. You know what I'm saying? But I also know my body's going to tell me eventually that you're depleted. You either address me when it happens, or
Facts.
right, you're gonna be confined to a bed real soon. Right. So knowing what works for you, right, and managing stress, right, which is you just managing your body as you do life, will help you, right, managing your impulses and emotions. All right. All right, here we go. The next one here says prioritize things. Now, I believe in to-do lists, right? And here it says, you know, make a to-do list every day or every week or every month. So when you feel overwhelmed, you know you're making progress, like a checklist. Now, sometimes this doesn't work for people because they look at the list and they say, look at all these things I have to do. So with prioritizing things, I say triage. I like the word triage.
Okay.
Right? Because
That's a good
triaging
word.
means that you are able to push something else way down, right? To just focus on this, or that. You know, so triage things, right? So that you feel less overwhelmed, right? And less disorganized, less chaotic, less stressed out, right? And you get things done. I used to be that person who believed that I can work on a lot of projects at one time. And that thing wore me out because it was like dipping and dabbing, right? And it was taking so long to complete projects, right? It was just like, wow, Kim, when are you going to finish? Aren't you tired of looking at this? Right? And here it is, you know, the demand is greater, right? For the work that I'm doing, owning a business and, you know, jumping things off and, you know, doing trainings. And it's like, you could have been done with this curriculum. Does that make sense? And you have to do it because this is part of, right, the service that you provide. So I had to learn how to triage things, right? To say if I'm only working on one thing for the next 5 days, that's good enough. Does that make sense? Like, because sometimes that one project has multiple layers, right? It has multiple steps for you to complete. And we tend to think, okay, I'm going to do this, and this. And now when you start to do that, this, and this, it's taking you hours to do it. And I think you have to understand the time that's needed to get things done in your life. Right? And it's not about quantity, right? It's about quality. It's about efficiency. I hate going back, redoing my work. I hate it because it was like if you had just given 100% attention to it the first time, you wouldn't be going back.
Facts.
You know, and I had to get that, like, okay, you are now wasting time. Right? You're not wasting time. So now you got to call the folk anyway and say you need an extension. Right. Right. Or postpone some other stuff, right? That you had to get done because you didn't designate enough time or the proper time needed, right? To get things done. So prioritize things, but also triage it, right? And understand, you know, the time that you have and the time that you can commit to I tell a lot of people no now. Right? I have to, because people will demand your time for 24/7. 24/7. So sometimes you got to figure out what boundaries, right, you need to have in place, because it's like once you create your plan, you need to stick with it. Right. So I had to learn, like, okay, Kim, you said this week was going to be dedicated, right, to doing this and this. Right? You have to stick with your plan, because guess what? You don't want next week to get here. And now you sitting looking crazy. Right?
Yep.
You sitting looking like, okay, so what am I going to do now? Disappointed. Right? You're very disappointed in yourself. So learn to, right, stick with your plan. And some people are not in your plan.
Come on now.
Right? Yeah. Give me a couple of weeks and I'll get back to you. Right? And guess what? If those people respect you and what you do, they won't have a problem with it. Right? Because if I tell you, you know what, I'm not in a good space right now. Going through a little something. I got a lot going on. Right? Can you just give me a little time? I'll definitely check back in with you. Notice I said I'll check back in with you. And you turn around and say, so you want me to call you in a couple weeks? You know, you turn around and say, well, you know what? How much time? Right? do you want me to give you? That person is not respecting your space in your plan. Right. And so I know that sometimes I have to share my plan with people. And I mean that in the sense of be precise with what I'm working on so that they understand why I'm distracted. Right. And why I can't be available. Right. Like I am. But this is what I can do. I always come with this is what I can do. Right. And that's so important to communicate to people. Right. If you're not available or if you can't do, exactly what they're asking of you, what can you do? Right? Because you don't want to keep telling yourself, I can't. Right? I can't means that it's impossible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so we want to take that out, that I can't spirit.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right? And so really prioritizing, making you first, meaning you need to be the best you before you can take on somebody else's issue. All right. And so then the last thing here, it says here to make sure you practice self-control and adhering to good willpower here is forgive yourself. Right. You hear that a lot, everybody fails, right? Failing is a part of life, right? How can I explain this? You won't always get the results that you want. And I don't know how to really explain that part because I feel like as a society, it's almost like when you don't get your desired outcome, we automatically label it as a failure.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't turn out, quote unquote, the way you thought it should. Or you look back and you say, I could have done this, and this differently. We still categorize that as failure. Right. And so I want to add here, when you forgive yourself, yes, for it. If you know you didn't give your all, if you know that, you didn't do your due diligence and, dive into what you needed to do for yourself to succeed. Yes, by all means. Okay, I didn't do the best that I could. If you want to say I failed, right, in this particular part or this particular event, forgive yourself, right? But also know that there is a destiny. There's an unknown, right, outcome that we as humans, we just don't have privy to. Does that make sense? So those of us, when we, plan for families, right? You don't know when you're going to get married. You don't know when you're going to have, your first child or multiple kids. You don't know when you're going to buy that new house. You understand what I'm saying? These things are done in divine order.
What? I'm trying to wake myself up. Yeah. I was having a moment.
You know what I'm saying? So, just really, really understanding that forgive yourself only when, I feel like it's necessary, only when you know that you didn't do the best that you could.
Right.
Right? Forgive yourself when you can look back and say, I stayed in that relationship too long. Right? Forgive yourself, right? Because that's the grace and compassion, right, that you need to have for self. But don't own every quote unquote failure because sometimes it's based on other people's, right, decisions and their motives, right, that you don't get quote unquote everything that you desired in your life. Does that make sense? I like to learn from undesired outcomes. Was that for me? Right?
Okay.
Was it the right time? Does this mean I need to go back and think about, what my new plan should be? What's my recovery effort like? What are my takeaways from these undesired outcomes? Right? Because one thing is for sure, I'm not going to walk around saying I'm a failure.
Good.
Right? Shake yourself off, pull up to the table, deal with self, right? What should I get from this experience? Because that's what it is. Failure is an experience. Right? And you don't have to constantly, quote unquote, say, I failed. No, you had an experience. Right? So the kindness that I need to show to self, right, is that you can get up, you can recover, you can be restored, and you can plan ahead, right? And that also involves controlling your thoughts and watch your actions.
I like that. You know,
Right?
Dust your shoulders off. I like that.
You have to understand, like you actually can control your thoughts. Right? When people say, I just can't stop thinking about that person. Yes, you can. Right? Find you something to do, number one.
That is a solution.
Right? Find you something to do, right? What else is there to your life other than thinking about this person? Right? You have to understand that how you act and think can make or break your chances of being happy and successful. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving to be the best self,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To be a good person. You know, when I think about reputation, I want my reputation to be that I'm a good person, right? That I am honest, right? That I'm reliable. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you could say I don't like her. One thing you won't say, right, is that I'm rude, right? I'm arrogant. I treat people unkind. I know everybody won't like you, but they can't respect you. Does that make sense? They can respect you. So you want to make sure, right, that you live your life to get peace of mind, right, to be happy and successful and not focus on perfection, right, but being a good person. And so understanding that you can have strength and wisdom, right? You're given strength and wisdom, right, to be in control. And I think that people underestimate their inner self, right? But you have to invest in it.
That's good.
Right? You have to invest in your inner self. That means if you identify some deficiencies, so temptations, right? There's I've often heard pastors, preachers say, the devil can't tempt you with something that does not interest. Like, okay, if you're not a drinker, right, you can sit in the bar all day long, right, and not drink, right, because drinking is not right for you. But if you are a drinker, right, you may need to watch it, especially if you are one who can't control.
Correct.
Right? Even being physical in relationships, right? You need to know who you can't have conversations with.
Come on.
Right? This is self-control, right? Because you know that if you do not control your impulses, right, your urges, even to your body, when temptations come, you're least likely to have the willpower to resist. Does that mean, like, you got to have willpower to resist temptation, right? But that means you have to be content in your life. You know what I'm saying? It has to. What are you made of? What makes you you? What parts of your life define your level of happiness and your internal joy? Right? And if you can't identify those things, that's your starting point. Right? Your starting point is, how do I know if I even have peace of mind? Do you know what that looks like?
Yeah.
Right? Do you know what that feel like? And you have to really dive in to say, okay, what do I need to gain better control over in my life, right? So that I can be the best me, so I can be diligent.
90
right?
seconds.
That I can be diligent in what I do in my life so that I feel successful, right? I see success. And I'm not just talking about financial success, right? That when you wake up smiling. Not with an attitude.
I agree 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you really have to take a look at that. Like, how do you even wake up? Right? Do you wake up thankful to be alive? Or do you wake up, Here we go again. Or you don't even say that. You may have another choice, choice word. But really think about that, because that commands your day.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That commands your day. How you open your eyes and your feet hit the floor.
I think even if you are tired, but you have the will to say, I got to accomplish these things today, you're going to get them done. It may not get done as fast as you normally would get them done.
Yes.
But if you wake up and saying, I'm too tired to get anything done, then it's not going to get done.
And explore why you are waking up tired.
Well, it depends on how you know, what type of, like you said earlier, I think you said, what type of rest did you get?
Yes.
You know, is your rest constantly interrupted?
That's
right?
huge. That is
is your
huge.
rest, is your, like, you know, like last night I woke up in a sauna. You know, it was like my rest was disturbed.
Did you turn on the air?
The rest was disturbed because it just was not working. It was disturbed. Yeah, so, you know, when you wake up looking like somebody threw water on you, like, what happened, Jesus? You know, so it's a...
You can't sleep when you hot.
Not that hot. I was fat people hot.
What?
There's a difference. There's a difference.
You offended.
Who offended?
The heavy people.
Okay. I'm sorry. What? Yeah, you turned your own stuff off or something. I ain't do it. Okay.
Should have just said audition for Hell Hot.
Okay, that's all right. I'm sorry.
And you didn't make it. You didn't make the cut.
I was Hades hot. But yeah, I was like standing at the door.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like you like devil, you not finna turn it down, not at all,
Right.
not a notch.
Yeah, I was passing.
L over here.
I was passing through hell hot, like, oh, this is what it's like, huh? Okay. Yeah, appreciate that little sample. I'm good. I'm on.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you all straight tonight?
I hope so.
I'm
Jesus.
straight.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I pray you are cool, right? And you will get a good night's sleep.
In Jesus' name. Huh?
Man.
Come on.
Man. Amen. Amen.
Oh my goodness. Listen. All right, so this is what we're working on this week, right? Self-control and willpower. Right? Your willpower, your determination, right? Your determination to do your will, and that will is whatever your goals are, right? Self-control is your ability to control your emotions, your impulses, and your behaviors, right? As you navigate this thing called life. All right?
You got
Determination.
You got it, Dana?
That what?
You got what you need to do this week?
Huh?
Self-control.
Self-control and
Do you
display
have what you need to
willpower.
do this week?
Self-control and willpower? I
Yeah.
think I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I do.
All right.
Pray for me.
Self-care,
What'd you
right?
say?
Because that means making sure you already said you're good at, making sure you don't get stressed out.
Right.
So I feel like, that's again, like all of us in here, right? We've worked in atmospheres where we have to take care of ourselves, right? People demand so much of us, right, throughout the day that we were forced basically, right, to pay attention to our bodies. So some of us, right, it's routine, right, that we do it. And sometimes, just got to make sure you do it consistently, right, and not get so busy, right? So yes, willpower and self-control. Practice that this week. Last week we were doing the I statements. All right. This week we're working on self-determination and controlling those impulses, not giving in to temptation, right? Sticking with the plan that you have for yourself, forgiving yourself, giving yourself some compassion, right? Some compassion and grace. All right. But ultimately finding your happy place. All right. That's the work for this week. Got it? All right, y'all. We'll be back next week. What's going on Sunday? I caught the beginning of it.
The summer soul sizzle. Huh?
Secular.
Right. The secular and
Secular.
spiritual spiritual. I just made up a word. Spiritual, succulent, socially distant barbecue.
Solstice.
Solstice. Summer solstice.
Yes.
All that.
Yes, all of that.
Okay, it's gonna be here.
Summer
Right,
sizzling,
right across the
sacrifice,
street.
solstice.
Right out here, we got the street
Solstice.
blocked off.
Baptist Church.
Right.
And all are welcome.
Hey, all are welcome. Come on
Okay.
through. Right.
What are the times?
It starts at 1. My
1?
crew from You Chill We Grill gonna be out there with their grill.
Who?
You Chill We Grill. That's my homies I grew up with. They got their own barbecue
you
company.
Chill, we grill.
You Chill We Grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Don't bring no cauliflower. Get you a chicken wing.
It is grilled.
Don't eat the bun.
Oh wait.
Oh, they gonna have some Beyond.
They got Beyonds. I saw it.
I don't like that.
Well,
don't like
Beyond
Beyond?
meats.
No.
Oh well,
Oh.
whatever.
It-
They got real meat.
Hey, pick your poison. We tried to help you.
We were trying to help you
Oh,
out.
we good. So Sunday, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Come hang
Ebenezer
out.
Baptist Church.
Yeah.
Out in the parking lot.
Right across the street. All in the
DJ.
street. I'm right. I'm on the 1s and 2s. And then we might have a special guest DJ. We don't know yet.
For
But
10 minutes.
she just want 10
I
minutes.
just want 10 minutes.
We'll see.
Oh my
We'll see.
God.
I'm getting my 10 minutes.
Uh-oh. All right, y'all. Tune in tomorrow. Praise Break Friday with the great Reverend Doctor. I'm going to still figure out what the L is. I ain't been told yet. What?
L. Dana LL, lovely ladies. Yes.
Oh my God.
You don't listen, so don't put listen on there.
What? Okay, y'all. Have a good one.
All right.
Tune in tomorrow, y'all. Be good. Be safe.